I've been very fortunate. I've never failed in anything I've taken on. I've taken on a lot of different things that were totally one outside my comfort zone and outside of my level of expertise. So the attitude was, I've just got to make this work.
Welcome to Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. I'm James Short, and this show dives into the real stories behind the agents and the leaders shaping our industry. No polished highlight reels, just honest conversations about what's working, what's not, and how they're building businesses that actually grow. Each episode, I sit down with someone in the trenches, top performers, rising leaders, business owners who've cracked the code and others still figuring it out. We unpack the wins, the failures, the habits, and the lessons you can put to work straight away. Before we dive in, can I ask a favor? And please subscribe or follow on the platform you're listening or watching this. The more we grow, the bigger impact we can have together. And thank you. Let's get started. Welcome back to another edition, and very excited. So pumped for our next amazing guest, Vasco Horta from Zest Realty. This gentleman has got the best rap sheet ever. Vasco is keen to help rookie agents or agents who are looking to up their game. He has coached and mentored many agents over his career, with some now riding in excess of $1 million GCI. His current goal is to help at least 3 agents achieve beyond what they thought was possible for themselves. An award-winning agent, having sold hundreds of properties over his career, Vasco's passion for real estate was ignited when he purchased his first property in Bicton at the age of 20. Amassing over 4 decades of sales and marketing experience, including 12 years as small business owner, Vasco transitioned to real estate in 2006. His own experience in home renovations, property investment and development, and building a custom-designed home gave him a substantial grounding in his new career. As a licensed auctioneer and licensee, Vasco is skilled in residential and commercial property sales. He has been the sales manager of a large independent agency and has owned and operated 2 agencies, including Zest Realty. Together with Lorraine, Vasco created Zest Realty as an independent agency with connections to industry-leading systems and processes, enabling them to work efficiently and effectively, providing clients with a world-class experience at a very local and personal level is Zest's mission. Not one to sit still. We'll find out more about this. Vasco enjoys keeping fit, where he's an avid cyclist, often riding over 100 kilometers at a time. My goodness me. He's also a keen hobby photographer with a particular interest in landscape photography, discovering a creative flair for at least 12 years of age. Some of Vasco's photography is on display at Zest Realty office. It's an honor and a privilege to have the man of the moment onto the show. Vasco, mate, welcome. Take me back to, what was that thought process of getting into the real estate industry? Why did you choose it?
Actually, I didn't choose it. It was quite a accident. It was something I actually didn't want to do. I was not harassed, but approached by I used to have a print shop and a digital print shop, and I was approached by the guy who was our major supplier, who ended up getting into real estate, and he kept trying to persuade me to join real estate, and it just wasn't for me. The idea of cold calling and door knocking just didn't appeal at all. I kept telling him that, and then I employed him to sell my home at the time, and from that interaction, he really started hassling me. And by that stage, he had his own office, and eventually he lured me with the bait of, how about if you just come in as a partner and recruit and train the salespeople, because I know you've got a passion for that. And that was the concept and the idea that I got into real estate. So I wasn't going to be a real estate agent, although I was going to do my ticket. It was just to recruit and train salespeople and have ownership in the business. And prior to that, I'd owned the business for 12 years.
Wow.
I went off and did the course, and the day I joined, he said, I've sold the business, and it wasn't to me. So all of a sudden it was like, I've got this real estate ticket and I'm not got the job that I was told I was going to have. And I thought I'd better start knocking on doors, which is what I started doing. Unfortunately, the guys that bought that business were very ruthless, and my ideologies didn't match up with theirs. So I lasted the whole 5 weeks. And quite coincidentally, about a year before that, I got approached by a chap by the name of James Reed, who used to be the BDM for Harcourts here in WA. And I used to print not all, but the majority of the print that went to real estate agents I was doing. But we only printed for the printing industry, so we didn't print directly to the end user.
Right.
And so when I got the call from James, I thought he was trying to shortcut the system and try and get me to print directly for them. And then quickly realized he just wanted to have a meeting with me unrelated to print. Caught up with him and he wanted to sign a non-disclosure agreement for before he went into too much detail. But basically he wanted me to go and run one of their offices. And it's, mate, I haven't got a real estate ticket. No, nothing about real estate. What the hell do you want me for? There must be 1,000 other people out there who love this opportunity.
Yep.
And yeah, because I wasn't prepared to sign non-disclosure because I wasn't interested in real estate, that never went any further. Fast forward a year or so later, when I found myself at this agency that I didn't really enjoy being at, I rang up James and said, James, remember me? And that afternoon he had me placed at an office.
Wow.
So that was quite an interesting start to real estate. And again, that office didn't work out. 6 months later, I left. At that point, wasn't established by any stretch of the imagination, but other agencies started noticing me. So I'd had quite a few calls and I thought I was pretty special. Only to realise once I was in the industry well and truly that anyone with a heartbeat and a breath of air in their lung and a ticket was offered a job. So I thought I was special, but everyone was just chasing that bum on a seat, really. But I do remember I had a choice between a big agency that dominated the area I lived in, which is where I wanted to work, and an agency had zero presence whatsoever, and they were a small independent agency. I remember the thought process being that if I joined the big agency, I would never know whether it was me or them that got me successful, if I was successful. Yep. So I took the harder road and joined the small agency and carved up a career doing that. So it all worked out in the end. Yeah.
Wow.
And, I've got to say, in spite of not wanting to do this at the start, I wouldn't do anything else now.
Yeah.
And
what was that turning point from not wanting to do it to leaning in to go, I can't see myself doing anything else?
Yeah, the very first day I turned up and the job that was promised wasn't available. It's like, shit, now I've got to do this.
Got to make it work.
I've been very fortunate. I've never failed at anything I've taken on. And I've taken on a lot of different things that were totally outside my comfort zone and outside of my level of expertise. So the attitude was, I've just got to make this work.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. I think that's a really interesting point of you just got to make it work in relations to those opportunities and leaning into those opportunities. What's that inner personality characteristics inside of you to just go, there's no plan B, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I came from a very underprivileged family who battled to put food on the table. Yeah, my mum really struggled to do that and worked hard. Well, both my parents worked hard all their life to just put a roof over our head and clothes on our back and food in our belly. It wasn't anything they taught. They were both mum wasn't literate in any language, couldn't read or write because wasn't given the privilege of going to school. And Dad wasn't much different. He had a small understanding, but in another language, but not a great level of reading and writing skills. It's just built in. It's once you come from a background, you just battle on. Yeah, absolutely. And I've been working since the age of 15. I'm 63. There's been times where I've personally, as an adult, battled to put food on the table myself, and you just got to march on. You can't let that sort of shit get in the way.
It is that real Aussie battler sort of mentality, isn't it?
Portuguese.
Yeah, it's that mentality of there is no plan B. You've seen what you don't want, which is that growing up and not having potentially food on the table. So I'm not going there. So that actually helps to motivate you to go, that's where I'm going. And I'm just making it happen.
But also accepting there's going to be bumps in the road. That's life. That's just how it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being in the industry now for some time, what have you seen as some of those biggest changes over the last couple of decades?
Oh, there's been massive changes. Technology has been a huge, massive change. And I worry not because I don't think it's good, but I worry about the future with AI, even AI currently. But yeah, technology has been massive changes. There's also been a change of attitude with agents from when I started 20 years ago. And I don't know what it's like on the East Coast. I imagine it's much the same, but the egos are big in Ben-Hur, and they never used to be when I started. When I started, whilst it wasn't the infancy of the internet, it was still pretty early days. And I think that's not a good thing, the massive egos. I keep reminding people, we did a 2-week course and we've got a legal right to sell homes. It's not a qualification. It's just the legal right to sell homes. Yet we're in an industry where we can earn far more than a brain surgeon can, which is quite telling of what's capable here.
And on those couple of things, particularly around AI and ego within the industry, where do you see it potentially going over the next 2 to 5 years around those two key aspects, do you think?
Yeah, look, I think there's a danger with agents who allow or use AI to replace themselves in terms of contact. A simple thing, as simple as DocuSign. I embraced DocuSign right from the start and just recently scrapped it, not entirely, like we've still got the DocuSign account. We still have 2 people on that, but I recognize that using DocuSign to sign documents removes the personal contact between the agent and the client. And that's a thin edge of wedge. You start removing the personal contact because you're replacing that with some sort of automation. And then pretty soon they won't need us. And there's going to be, I'm sure, a part of this industry that will be done away with because of AI or because of technology. It may not be AI, but other technologies. And I think if you embrace it to a certain extent where it doesn't replace your personal contact, that's fine. But as soon as you start not being in front of the client, I think you're losing the plot. It's what are you needed for?
Yeah.
The machine can send documents out. And I think there's a huge danger. I removed it from the reps so that they had to go and see the clients and get signatures, with the exception of absentee buyers or sellers. Yeah.
Yeah. It really does make that connection piece, which I think AI will have a lot of benefits, but it won't put in that connection piece. And I think this is a great opportunity for agents to lean into reestablishing those connection pieces of eyeball to eyeball belly, to have those conversations in the lounge rooms, to feel that the vendor or the buyer is actually being heard and seen and acknowledged.
I think the agents that continue to do that will be the ones that will survive the technology boom. Yeah, I think if you use technology to do more and more of your work, you'll be the one that's replaced.
Yeah.
And you won't know it until it's too late.
So true. And it's going so quick at the same time.
Sure.
What's some exciting projects that's coming up for you over the next 12 to 24 months?
You read out one of my goals is to help 3 people. I've actually done that before, but I've done it under someone else's banner. I want to do it under my own banner. I've got one rookie. I still call him a rookie. He's done 21 deals in his first 12 months. So I should stop calling him a rookie. But I've got one guy who's done that in his first full 12 months. And so that's the first success. I've got another guy who's about to start. He's just waiting for his assignments to be scored, and then he'll get his ticket. And funnily enough, bumped into him when Lorraine and I were out shopping for swimming pools, and this was the salesman, and got talking to him and convinced him that he should get into real estate. I sort of used the Steve Jobs quote on him, and it was when he convinced John Scully to join Apple. Do you want to sell flavored for the rest of your life? Or you want to change the world? And it was, do you want to sell swimming pools and earn $500 a pop, or sell houses and earn $7,000 a pop? What do you want to do?
That was a real quick decision for him to make there.
So, and I thought he was incredibly good. Just as an example, I was sitting at my home office, which I'm at now, and just looking online, selecting the pool I was interested in, rang the company. He answered and said, mate, not buying a pool, just want to know ballpark figure. I know you can't tell me the exact price. What's this particular pool going to cost? And he gave me a number. I said, so I'm assuming it's going to be double that by the time I've finished it off. And he said, yeah, you'd be about right. I left the home office, went to the work office. By the time I got there, all I'd given him was my name. He obviously harnessed my phone number from the telephone on his desk. And by the time I got to the office, there was an email from him and thanked him for the conversation with a whole bunch of information we'd spoken about, brochures and so on. And I thought, fuck, this guy's on the ball.
Wow.
We're real estate agents, it's easy to find us, but still, he punched my name into the internet and he found my email address and contacted me. The crazy thing is, when I spoke to him next, he knew all the staff background of them from reading their bios, and he remembered all that. It was like, far out, this guy's good.
Next level. That is so good. And that's the thing, right? They're the 1% differences that make that connection piece so much better.
Yeah.
Love it. Fantastic. Now, Vasco, on our show, we have our 60-second quiz to find out a little bit more about our guests. Are you willing to play?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. What's your favorite movie?
Look, I've got a few, but the Blues Brothers, I'm old enough to remember that one and have watched that probably 100 times over the years. Back to the Future and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So, and if you look at all those three, they're a bit comical. And then one that's probably a little bit more violent that I really like is Reservoir Dogs.
Love it. Fantastic. What's the favorite food?
Look, anything my wife cooks that's the correct.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
But the reality is, look, I've got a Portuguese background. I was born over there. Anything Portuguese, really.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Where's your favorite holiday destination?
Portugal. Madeira specifically, that's where I was born, and we're heading there in a few weeks.
Beautiful. Yeah. Fantastic. Do you have a morning routine? What does that look like?
I just literally got off the bike just before this, so I head off and do a 50 or 70 kilometre ride first thing in the morning. Usually 4:30, 5 o'clock I leave, and then get home, do 100 metres in the pool, and then get ready for work.
Wow. Fantastic. Just a side note, have you done any races or anything like that?
No, look, I'm not passionate about cycling. It's a form of exercise. I really enjoy it. I'm not passionate about it. And I enter events, but not competitions.
Yeah, great. Love it.
We do, Lorraine and I do some fundraising for cancer research where we do, once a year, we do a 200 kilometre bike ride and we raise funds for cancer. And what we decide to do, rather than pass the hat around, which gets really difficult with all your mates, is that we just put $500 out of every deal into the foundation and that earns us the ride.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Well done. Well done. What about an evening routine?
I'm pretty lazy. In the evenings, it's basically Netflix and chill with the wife.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Do you have a most embarrassing moment?
I couldn't really think of this one. Not one that I'd publish.
That's all right. All good. All good.
I do recall, it wasn't massively embarrassed, but I do recall 100 years ago looking for a new home or looking at new home displays and, you know, how they're all set up down one street. And we were just going from home to home, and we walked into this home, and there were people sitting having lunch at the dining room table. So we walked into someone's private residence. I'm sure they were used to it because we couldn't have been the first ones to have done that.
Pass the plate around. So good. If you could choose 5 inspirational people to have dinner with, who could they be? They could be dead or alive.
Yeah, you're going to laugh at this one because 3 of the 5 have been in jail. The first one's Steve Jobs. The next one's Lee Iacocca, probably not someone a lot of people have heard of. And then Chopper Read, who's an Australian icon. Alan Bond, who's West Australian business guy, he's sadly passed away. And then another one is John Friedrich, another one that very few people would know about.
Okay, interesting. Good mix, good mix. Do you have a biggest regret?
Yeah, not traveling when I was young. Yeah, didn't start traveling until I was 50, and so there's limited time left.
Yeah, gotcha. If you were Prime Minister for the day, what's one thing that you would change?
Homelessness.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And what would be your best piece of advice?
That's an interesting question because I say this quite often at home opens to young people that come through, as in young kids are with their parents. And I always say, you want some guidance in life, and their parents nearby will wait and listen, and it's always work hard and be good to your mother. and
get the high five from the mum on the way out.
And the serious bit of advice really is don't worry for the future, just be present, just live in the present. Yeah,
love it.
It's
so true.
Worrying about the future just destroys your happiness today.
Yeah, love it. Fantastic. And where's the best place to find out more, and maybe if the audience wants to reach out to find out more about your...
Look, I'm pretty old school. Phone and email, just on my phone. Give me a call or text or on the email. Obviously, I've got Instagram and Facebook, but I wouldn't have a clue how you get in touch with me.
That's all right. We'll put your details in the show notes down below. Awesome.
Excellent.
Vasco, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Really appreciate it. And thank you for your expertise, your knowledge, and everything that you offer to the industry. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, James.